Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Tampa Real Talk with me, Gavin Frater. Look, in episode one, we showed you exactly how bad marketing and piss poor performance can really impact your home's ability to sell. Things like dark, lazy, terrible photos, lazy descriptions, and no activity from your realtor really will mean your home just sits and sits and sits. Look, I promised we'd come back to this, and I promised I'd show you what a well-marketed, well-positioned property looks like. And so today, that's exactly what we're going to do. This is what a properly marketed Tampa listing looks like from the moment you sign on the dotted line to say, yes, you are my listing agent, to the moment it sells. Join me today and let's see how this goes. Okay, guys, so what we need to find out is why is the way you present your home on the market so important? Well, to know that, you have to know the market here in Tampa. And look, unlike other areas of the country like New York, New Jersey, where homes are still flying off the market, the Tampa market has been a little bit sluggish. So what does that mean for you? It means that if your home isn't presented online perfectly or near damn perfectly, it's going to take longer to sell. So with inventory right now, we're looking at 70, 80 days on market for an average house. Sure, houses that are priced really well and below market value are going to move quicker, but houses that aren't shown in a good light are going to sit, and they're going to sit for a long time. So looking at how you present your home now is more important than it's been in any time over the last 10 years. Buyers are looking online, 96% of whom start online, and they're looking at a lot of, this is Florida, this is the Tampa area. There's a lot of cookie cutter homes out there. D.R. Horton, Lennar, Casa Fresco, West Bay, they're all making the same cookie cutter bullshit. So how do you make your cookie cutter home or your home stand out from those homes? Because they look nice, as cookie cutter as they are, they do present very nicely. Well, it's how you shoot. It's the fact that you use a professional photographer to position yourself best. Look, first impressions last with everything. I don't care whether it's online dating, buying a car, or buying a house. The first impression you get when you look at something will dictate everything. Look, as much as I hate entities like Zillow and Realtor.com, the fact that they say you have 5 to 7 images to capture somebody's imagination to get interest in that home means that you can't mess around with the way you present your listings or for buyers and sellers with the homes that you're going to go with. So look, that's what I want you to take from this, is that how you present your property is everything in today's market. If you take nothing else away from this video today, you should know that marketing is more important than the product itself in many instances, because it doesn't matter how nice the product is. If people don't get to see it, it doesn't matter. Look, we're going to show you some videos, we're going to show you some floor plans, and we're going to show you an interactive Matterport. Join us. Let's take a look and see what we've got. Okay, so here we are. We are sitting at your house. We've just signed the contract. We're just in the process of signing the contract. So we're doing that pre-listing consultation. This is what I will do with you before a single photo is taken. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to walk through your home. And look, I pick on NASCAR collector plates because they're tacky. I'm sure somebody out there loves them. But if you have your NASCAR collector plates scattered around the house on price of onshore, get rid of them, pack them up, move them to the next house. They don't need to be here. Look, we're going to talk about what works, what doesn't work. I'm going to tell you, you know what, if for photography day, we put this in a different room and then we'll move it so that the photographer can shoot the room without this in. There are things that just don't need to be seen. And look, we showed them in the first episode. It's things like, I don't need to see your laundry. I don't need to see unmade beds. I don't need to see your tchotchkes all over the bloody place. What I want and what buyers need, most buyers, is as blank a canvas as possible where they can start imagining their lives in those spaces. If you can't get somebody looking online and going, oh, I think our TV would go really well on that wall, and you know what, your mother's table that she left you would go really nice in the dining room here, then you've already lost. So you need to have people wanting to move in and see your home long before they come to your home for the first time. And so over the last 14 years, look, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't always a professional picture guy. I take a pretty good picture, but in this day and age, just spend the money. It makes the difference. And over the last 14 years, there are things that I've been introduced to that I thought were ridiculous at first, but is now everyday processing. So let's talk about what we do. Clean, declutter, minimize. If you're already planning on moving out of the home, you should already be starting to pack. So yeah, those NASCAR plates, the collection of teaspoons, the thimbles, whatever it is that you're into that's cluttering up your house, the second we sign that contract, I want you to start putting into boxes and get in the garage. Okay? Once we've gone through and I've told you, or we've explained how to maximize each individual room as an individual space, then we look at scheduling photography. From a preference perspective, unless you're manically clean, I would probably recommend having a professional cleaner come out, at least do a clean around the house the day or morning of or afternoon before. The home is going to be shot for photography purposes. And look, I will always come with my photographer because I like to take behind the scenes footage. It adds to what's coming up in the future. But I can't say this enough times. If you're turning up, or if your agent is turning up with a smile and a camera, cancel the contract. Cancel it. I'm not even going to lie. If your agent can't be bothered to pay for the money for a professional to do the work, FISBO the house, and I'll give you a recommendation for a photographer. That simple. But why I insist on a professional photographer is not just because they know the angles better than I do and they can maximize the space more than I can. Not just because their equipment is infinitely more expensive than my iPhone or my own personal DSLR. It's because not only do they know the angles, they've got the right lenses, but they have edit as well. I don't know how to edit images. So I might take what looks like a great picture on the camera screen. I get it home and it's badly lit or it's blurry and it's like it's not what I want. These guys know how to maximize every image so that when it goes online, it's the best it can possibly be. Now, the difference between standard photography um, and my photography is night and day. It's the difference between Tiger Woods and me playing golf. Okay. So if you would rather me hire Tiger Woods to teach you to play golf, or would you rather me teach you to play golf? Look, photography is not the be all and end all. Like, yeah, look, but what's more important and what I see agents doing poorly, which impacts the ability for somebody to see the full scope of a house, is they just photo dump. In the MLS, we can order the pictures. We can put them as a tour if we want to. We can randomize them, or we can just put them in the way that the photographer gives them to us in a file. And that's what a lot of agents do. So a photographer might start off his shoot with 25 drawn pictures and picture of your front door. I'm like, okay, there should be no more than two, maybe three exterior pictures before you're inside the house. And when I position a house, I want you to feel when you're scrolling through whatever portal you're using, I want you to feel like you're touring the house with me. I want you to go walk in, and if there's a big hallway, you'll get the hallway. If it goes straight into a living room, it'll be a living space, to dining space, to kitchen, to bedrooms. And if it's got a really nice bathroom, we'll do the bathrooms. But you need to feel as though you're going through that house without even hitting the Matterport. So my photo is kind of like your hero image at the beginning. Then it's probably the same image with a twilight video effect, so it looks nice with a nice colorful sky. And then you're in the house. Everyone's got a front door. I don't need to see your front door. I've never had anybody buy a house because they love the front door. Um, but yeah, once you've got those photos in order, it's half battle. Look, Zillow, Realtor.com, all of those companies will be nice. All of those people will tell you you have 5 to 7 swipes to get somebody's attention. And if the 5 to 7 swipes that you're wasting are all exterior pictures or elevated from the ground, so you can having to use an arrow to point which house is yours, then you've lost. You need a realtor who understands how to position a house with the pictures they've got. And just because they get 75 pictures doesn't mean they have to use them. So what I'm going to show you in just a second is how to really maximize. I'll do a couple of scroll throughs as far as really well taken pictures are concerned for homes that are on the market right now. And then we'll show you some really good use of video footage, and I'll show you some really good use of Matterport as well. So stay tuned and let's take a look. Okay, so if you look over my shoulder right about here, hopefully I did that correctly, I'm going to show you some videos of what a good photography session looks like and how that translates into kind of the wow factor for your listings. So this is what you want to be looking at. So you see from the front end, we have a really clear image of the outside of the house, followed up by that twilight image, and then we're straight into the house. We're open to the kitchen and the living space. You're really getting a good feel for the house. Even if I'm going a little bit quicker, I'll try and slow this down. But you're getting an idea of what this house is all about. It's bright, it's breezy, it's open concept, got a lot of space. Okay, that as opposed to what we've seen in past pictures where the colors are oversaturated, the house is dirty and cluttered. And what you want to see is a really good example of open living, clean living, an ability to really get into a house and want to see it from the moment you take the pictures. If you look at this next one, we start off right now with the hero image has the twilight sky, and then the agent on this one's gone a little bit out over top on the outside of the house, a bit few more pictures than I would have, but the fact that this house looks so nice from the inside, even in the situation like this where the homeowners have already technically moved out, you can still see both with traditional photography and then with some virtual images that you'll see in just a few minutes, how well you can show a space. So that's a virtual, how well you can show that space as to what it could be. And again, virtually staged and then blank. So there's a really good use of AI and technology to be able to experience what a house could be. And worst case scenario, if you're watching at home and you're seeing these images and you're like, yeah, you know what, I don't really know, you can take images of your furniture, understand what store you got it from, save it into ChatGPT, take the image of the house you want and ask ChatGPT to position that piece of furniture in, and it'll show you what your sofa will look like. Now, both these houses I've shown you right now are available today. They're in the Triple Creek development, and they're right around average sale price, right around 425 right now. The next house we're going to say is a little bit special. And I know the agent on this one, she did take a few extra pictures, use a few extra pictures from the outside, which is not my preference. But let's look over this house the next minute and I'll show you exactly what luxury looks like without you having to pay for through the nose for it. So again, we start off with the outside, then jump straight to the pool area. When you have a pool area, this night you have to jump into it. Then we have a little bit of overkill with the exterior of the property. Don't care about the front door images, as I've said, but now we're in the house. So now, and I scroll a little bit fast, so I should probably slow down for future videos, but you see, it's been taken with a wide angle lens. You can see the whole house. You can see how nice and bright and breezy it is. It's well lit. It's really quite a large house. And you're getting a good feel for it straight from the office. You flick through on your phone just what that house could be. Again, huge pantry. But you'll see that there's no clutter. There's no tchotchkes out. There's no laundry out. Everything looks as though it's been staged. And if your agent isn't sure what to do with this kind of stuff, they should get a staging consult. This was my personal favorite bit of the house over there. They had a secondary lounge upstairs with a 3 TV setup. So that's how, from a photography perspective, you get it right. You make sure the house is staged correctly. You have a professional come in who takes professional pictures, and you don't deal with the bullshit of doing it yourself. Now, let's take a look at some videography, and I'll show you what the good videography looks like. Okay, so I've shown you photography and how it looks really good. Now we're going to go with videography, and let's take a look at a recent listing that I had in Clearwater. And what you'll see is even at the lower end of the budget, you don't have to skimp on lower end marketing. By being able to provide a really good walkthrough for my client, what I do is I just get the raw files from my videographer and then I'll mesh them together in multiple different ways rather than have his. He has a weird way of doing it that I'm not a big fan of. But you see, it's a small house, but it doesn't mean you can't create stunning content. You've got the view from the living room and into the dining room, the open concept feel, much like the pictures on the listings for Elise I showed you just a few minutes ago. And then you see the bedrooms as well. So you get a good feel of what this house really is without having to physically walk through the house. It gives you a good idea. It's got a really nice little bathroom in there. And then we'll scroll on and go into the secondary bedroom. And you see this space, and it doesn't look as though someone's just done this with a phone and walked around a house. This is a professional photographer using professional equipment, showing you the property professionally. And you say that after a couple of beers if you can. See, we go out into the outside of the house, you see the pond, you see all the space. It really is it was really quite a cute house, and the new owners are really happy in there. So that's the kind of thing you can see from a videography perspective. You see that right there at the end. He's pulled the drone out, and he's pulled out from the property so he can get a really good shot. Um, and then it's just my information. So the difference between just standing in the corner of the room and doing this and really not understanding, because look, I'm not a photographer, I'm not a videographer, I'm a salesperson. I happen to be selling homes right now. I don't know what I don't know. And so whether I know whether it's oversaturated with light, whether I've underdeveloped something, whether I'm not shooting right, I don't know this stuff. And I don't expect any real estate agent to do that unless they've come from the corporate photography world where this is what they've been doing. So utilizing professionals as a bare minimum of really what to accept when it comes to your listing. When you are picking your professional, make sure you have that. So from a visual, it's very important to make sure your videography and your photography is bang on. Now, where I find a lot of agents aren't really savvy. They write very descriptive listings which are colder than my ex-wife's shoulder. Look, when it comes to writing a listing, nobody wants to be welcome to this spacious four-bedroom, three-bathroom, bi-level home sitting on quarter of an acre. Everyone's heard those for years. They don't work. They're no more effective than, hi, I'm calling you about your car's warranty. No. No, people want to be welcomed in if they're reading these descriptions at all. I think Zillow said that less than half the people actually read the descriptions. So if for the half who are, at least make it worth their while. Give them a feeling about how this house is going to do for them. Um, Look, if I tell you that there's four bedrooms, three bathrooms, a bonus room, an office, and a two-car garage, you're going to be bored out of your head. But if I tell you from the moment you walk into this home, the open concept feel gives you a feeling of life and the well lit, and I'm really descriptive with how I go. I'm terrible at these, as you can tell, but let people understand how this home's going to make them feel when they get there. Let them know how living there is going to be, how entertaining guests and friends and families and raising children or growing old in a place is going to be. Make them feel like they want to be there. Don't just, it's like trying to sell based on features and benefits. Hello, Mr. Jones. Do you need new internet? Our internet is really fast and has no lag, and we do not share our speed with any other people. No. But hey, if I gave you an internet that would allow you to stream your games, play your games, stream your movies, and allow you to do all of the interactive stuff you need in your house, was that something you'd want? See, two different ways, and you need to be more descriptive and more consultative than what a lot of people have been of late. Um, so the description is one of the places where, yeah, it's not as important, but it's still very important for me. And look, while we're talking about importance, a digital presence is essential. Look, gone are the days where somebody's going to be impressed by saying, "Hello, Mr. Seller. If you list with me, not only will you go on the MLS, but we will put you on Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com and up to 55,000 other websites that disseminate information on real estate. Dude, that's just so. That's 1980s business card picture. It really is. Look, it's a digital world, and if you're doing the bare minimum digitally, just move aside and let somebody who knows what they're doing come through. Look, your agent should be telling you how they strategize your home in a digital world. Most people will go online. I think 96% of people go online to start their search. Okay. And I don't care whether that search starts on terrible company sites like Zillow and Realtor.com or great company sites like my Facebook page or my website. Um, People start their search online. So you need to maximize their positioning online. And the amount of agents who don't do targeted ads on social media, who don't do targeted video through YouTube or TikTok or Reels on Facebook and Instagram, and just expect the MLS to be able to do. Look, my boss has a real good phrase. Are you planning business or are you praying for business? And it's much the same when it comes to your home. Am I planning to sell your home? And that do I have a verifiable plan that after we've listed, I can be accountable to you on, or am I just hoping for the best, hoping that someone catches the right page one day? And look, I mentioned something very briefly there, the accountability. Um, if you've ever engaged an attorney for anything, you will know that after you pay the retainer, you have a statement of billable hours before you have to keep topping up, depending on how long your attorney needs are. What makes real estate so different? It's like I could work for you for 90 or 100 days and I'm not accountable to you. No, guys, look, when you work with me, and this is a toot my own horn, every 2 weeks you'll get an update. Okay, we've had this amount of showings, no interest, and here's why based on feedback. This is what I've done over the last 2 weeks to push your property to either A, other professionals with buyers in the area, or B, out and out buyer leads, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through phone calls. I'm always trying to sell your home. I'm not just listing and hoping. So having that communication throughout the listing process, keeping you up to date, and then if you have any concerns about what's happening, we can address them on a regular basis. Um, it's not rocket science. Look, fantastic homes should sell themselves. Pricing is important, don't get me wrong. But marketing, I think you can overmarket a badly priced home and get away with it. I don't think you can overprice a home and not market it properly. And look, you've seen three examples of listings that are active right now at various price points. You saw an old listing of mine with videography. If you're not getting that bare minimum of quality in your videography and your photography, you need to back out of that contract before it goes live. Okay, so we have talked about photography and videography. Over my shoulder right now, I've got to get the shoulders right. We have a floor plan. And look, these are important because people want to know not just how it looks on the inside, but how it flows. Is the master bedroom close to the kids' bedrooms? Is there space in between? Are the secondary bedrooms at the front of the house and the primary at the back of the house? These are all things that people worry about and that you can't necessarily see just by looking at images. And don't forget, I didn't mention Matterport, but if you look at the link below, I'll set up a live link to my Matterport for my listing that is live right now in New Tampa, up in the Live Oak development. And you can take a look at how you can use the technology of Matterport to effectively walk around a house without actually being there. I was hoping to do a live kind of demonstration, but then realized that I couldn't get them linked together. But that's it for this week, guys. Look, the one thing that I haven't mentioned is from the other side of the table. It's, again, I don't like the name of it. Help me find a better name for this. But I had a friend that I worked with back in the UK who was a former squatty. And he was a fantastic sales professional and great at what he did. And he utilizes what he called the six P's. And he said, perfect preparation prevents piss poor performance. And so from if I was giving you any advice from this side of the table that I wish I knew on your side, it would be, what is your marketing plan? How are you going to sell my home? And again, that perfect planning should prevent the terrible performance. You want to know professional photography, videography. You want Matterport. You want floor plans. You want a social media strategy. You want a sales strategy. You want to know what they're going to do and how they're going to spend their time dedicated to your property to get it sold. Don't expect that you're going to get one-on-one treatment, because any agent who only has one listing at a time isn't going to eat a lot of food. They're going to be doing a lot of odd jobs. But you want to make sure that even if your listing agent has 20 listings on the go, that you're not going to be forgotten and you're not going to be ignored. So ask them their marketing plan looks like. Understand how what you can do to help them execute, and make sure you have a clear path forward from the day your listing goes live for updates on what's going on and how things are going on. Um, Look, guys, I love doing this podcast. We had the Ginger Realtor show a couple of years ago that never really kicked on. I really want to be able to help people in the Tampa area. So I don't care whether you live in St. Pete, whether you're on Davis Island. Oh, I'd love to know if you're on Davis Island. If you're in Plant City, Wesley Chapel, Ruskin, Waimama, anywhere in the area. If there's something you want to hear about, let me know. Hit me up in the comments or send me a direct message and let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm going to hold week 6 off as a mystery week. I have a good idea what I want to do, but if somebody gives me an idea between now and then we'll run with that idea. Look, in the upcoming weeks, we're going to be speaking with home inspectors. We're going to be speaking with other lenders. We're going to be speaking with title companies so you can understand the title process. But I want to find out what you want to know, whether it's, look, where should I avoid in Riverview, or where should I live in Riverview? Uh, or whether it's, look, is it okay being right on I-4? No, it's not. But we can talk about that. I want this to be so specific to the greater Tampa area that it doesn't necessarily interest people from outside the area, but it interests you because this is where you live, this is where you want to raise your family, or this is where you're retiring and you're going to die. So before you die, let me know what you want to hear, and I'll make sure I take care of it for you. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. This has been me, Gavin Frater, with another Tampa Real Talk episode. We'll see you all next week.